Is your relationship worth saving? You might be a candidate for Date Night with Coach. Welcome to Date Night with Coach. I'm Dwayne Green, it's my beautiful wife Ebony Green, and our guest for the night, the Taylor-Peays, White and Shannon. I appreciate you guys coming.
Thank you for having us.
It's party time.
Let's do it.
All right, so I want to first of all, I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. Right, you were probably the quickest, most efficient response that we received for inquiries for guests that we asked to come. I mean, I sent you something that's coming back real quick, so I really appreciate that. Your respect for the process, your respect for what we're trying to do. So I appreciate you guys being here. Just a quick, I guess, overview of what we do. So again, we started this 2 years ago, right? And so during couples therapy, we started a monthly couples group, and with that monthly group, we deal with different topics, things that kind of support and kind of help couples to kind of build and develop their relationships. So the podcast came by way of really trying to set this format where we could get some couples here, Ebony and I and another couple, where we just have a conversation, talking about relationship stuff, talking about some real stuff, get some insight and glean some wisdom from you guys. Some things based on your journey and just based on some general things that go on in relationships. And so the first thing, I guess, we'll start by just asking, how did this union come about? How did you guys get started? Give us the backstory.
Wow. So I'm gonna start off with the backstory, but I'm gonna let the wife finish. So I'm gonna set the stage. So setting the stage, we have always kind of been a part of each other's lives in the background. Like, he went to Dunbar, I went to Dunbar. His mother used to work with a cousin of mine's. We both worked at MCI together, so we have this backdrop story, but then we worked at this credit card place called Metras, and we actually sat next to each other. So I couldn't stand him at first. I thought he was so annoying, but at the same time, I felt that I was intrigued because he was very annoying, but he was so confident. And I'm like, why is he so confident? And he has this weird name, Taylor-Peays, is hyphenated. Like, who was this guy? So I'll let you continue.
And now what's your name?
Yeah. And I was talking a lot of trash about that last name, but yep, that was my name.
Yeah, so she pretty much summed it up. Our sisters lived a block apart from each other. And at Metris, she was kind of like a hater, but she was used to men gravitating to her and giving. I was a hustler then. I was selling furniture. I was selling Nextels. I was selling Christmas trees. I was selling everything.
Let me add some of that.
And she, right.
We're going to talk about Christmas trees.
Right. So she wanted to buy a Nextel. I think it was the I-60. And she was like, it was a 125. She said, well, I got 100. I give you up a 25 to payday. I said, well, just come see me payday when you got the whole 125. And that wasn't acceptable to her. And she was
so mad.
Yeah, because she wasn't used to people telling her no. So the next day, she asked me, can I buy her wings from Friday? And I said, you don't have your wallet? She said, no, but I don't want to spend my money. I said, well, no bueno. So I thought about it that night, and I said, you know what? Wings is $12. Next day I called. I said, let me. We went to work, and I said, you still want those wings? I said, I get you your wings. You're all flats. And I seen potential. Yeah, I seen potential, and from there we started talking, and I called myself kind of gauging her by having her read Mace's book. I don't know if you remember when Mace went religious. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see if she believed in God. And she read it, and when she read it and she said she liked it, I'm like, yeah, she the one. And from there we started,
That's what's up, man.
So,
did you give her the phone for free?
no, she paid me the
$125.
Yeah.
Oh, sticker price.
Yeah, $125.
Taxes and everything.
Yeah, $125.
Man.
So you mentioned the Christmas trees. You sold Christmas trees, right? So you just this one right here, man. Guess how many Christmas trees we got in the house?
Don't say more than one.
2. 3?
No, you said 3. Change that to 4, then put a 1 in front of it.
What? You
Wow.
love Christmas.
Yeah, so we got Christmas
Wow.
tree. We got Christmas tree on the
In
deck.
every room.
I love that though.
Yeah, everywhere, man.
Cause she's a Grinch who stole Christmas. Like she
Oh,
don't
is
like
she?
the Christmas trees. Upon me and my youngest son love it.
Yes, they
But she's
love.
Black Power and Christmas. She believe in Christ, but Christmas trees and all that she not with it. So I was able to put Christmas lights up and shit in front of the house.
Bro, yeah, it took me 3 hours to pull all that stuff.
Oh man, you got a good man. You got a good man.
I'm exaggerating. Okay. I'm gonna record it next time. I'm gonna record the whole process.
Probably was 4 hours.
It's insane. It's insane, man. With all of that, with how you guys kind of met, y'all worked together. He was annoying. When did it really happen? When did you guys, decide like, you know what, this is gonna be it. We're gonna do this thing.
Well, it happened very quickly because after I got off over the part of how he was so irky, we started, we sat next to each other. So we just started having like a friendship, building a friendship. I used to talk to him actually about, guys getting advice about, just guy stuff. And,
I was plotting though.
yeah, so he would give me little advice like, shorty, you could do better. And,
I'm slow rolling.
yeah, so, little stuff like that. You deserve more. And, so we just developed a friendship. And then I realized how funny he was. And I'm like, silly on the low, and he just used to always make me laugh. And from there, I was just all in. Like, I just was enamored by him, like how he would just used to make me laugh. He was so funny and so confident, and he just had a presence, if that makes sense. But I was just locked in after that.
So for me, it was after she read May's book. Because for me, she was, she's beautiful. She's intelligent, but for me, I had started a lot of things young. So it was important for me to have somebody that was what I know now to be spiritual, to believe in more than just tangible things. So when she read May's book and gave me her little report on it, her little theses and everything, I was like, she the one. She the one.
So you were a professor on that gave us some
I was, she didn't know.
I said he was irky.
Yeah, I was gauging her, because I didn't want somebody that was just beautiful, and I wanted somebody that was beautiful.
That was like.
Yeah, you said it. So that was it for me. And after that, it was maybe a month, and she asked for a key from our apartment. I was like, whoa.
We go to
Basically.
But I'm not good. She knows I'm not good with sporadic questions, and I got a key made.
So she put you.
She was good.
Yeah, but I wanted it. I did. It's not like I didn't want it. I did want it, but it just, it caught me off guard. And from there, it was just like we were best friends. She would watch me play live, NBA Live, Call of Duty. We laughed all the time, and it was the best of both worlds.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's awesome, man. It's beautiful. So, like, excuse me, as a part of our couples program, we have 3 kind of core concepts that we kind of focus on. With our couples, we always focus on whether it be in counseling and couples therapy, or whether it be with our larger couples groups. We focus on communication, effective communication. We focus on positive conflict resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And we focus on understanding your why. And that concept has kind of evolved to evolving with your why. And so we understand that as you kind of get into a relationship and as your relationship grows, you're going to have challenges. You're going to have a lot of stuff to go on. You're going to have things that's going to cause you to not like each other at points in time. We believe that those 3 concepts keep you grounded and give you, the energy, give you the fuel to kind of deal with everything else that comes. So those are the things that we want to tackle first, right? And so, again, with communication, talking, making sure that we hear each other, we understand each other, we deal with things appropriately. with conflict resolution, obviously, really managing when we don't agree, really working towards resolutions from issues. And with, evolving with your why, everything that you guys just talked about in terms of why y'all, were why you gravitated towards each other. We grow and we change. So you gotta, as Dwight changes and grows, as Shannon changes and grows, we gotta each grow and evolve with each other. Because my reason for getting with you is gonna be different than my reason for staying with you. So just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on those three concepts and how you think they kind of manifest and play out within your relationship.
That's deep.
Okay, well, Dwight and I have been together for 20 years, so we have had a great relationship, I would say, until 2018, just with our kids turning into teenagers, bumping heads on parenting. But before then, it has really been like smooth sailing for the majority of our relationship. So, so just going through those challenges with parenting, just having different outlooks. We both had different childhood backgrounds, and I'm trying to implement my childhood background because I think my childhood background was awesome. He's trying to implement his childhood background because he looks at it like it's effective and this is what you have to do, and we have boys and this is needed. So I would say for me, I had to roll back on a lot of things because we do have boys. So I'm looking at things from my childhood. I was raised by women, and it's different, having boys. So I'm raising my boys as if they girls. I'm cooking for them. I'm waiting on them. And,
Thank you. She keeping it 100. She keeping it.
And he's like, whoa. You need to chill out. You need to chill out. So it took, it started off, I was mad, upset. So it took me a lot to really see what Dwight was saying, as far as the growth of our boys turning into young men. And I did realize that I did need to fall back in that area. So that's one of the challenges, we definitely had. But, having that communication, as you mentioned, that really helped us out, a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say we are best friends and we have gotten into it with parenting. But our threshold is like 24 hours. Like we don't go beyond somebody is going to give in to just like we had this thing where we don't like to go to sleep upset. And sometimes we will. If it's a 6 o'clock argument, like, all right, I ain't banging with you until tomorrow, lunchtime. You know what I mean? At a minimum. But she might give in or I might give in. But in saying that, we do come from two totally different backgrounds. I understand her background. I understand it. But I also understand what it takes for young men to become great men. And I had a father in my life, unfortunately. My wife lost her father too. And my mother-in-law, who I had the opportunity to be a part of her life, she passed in 2008, was a very, very loving person. So my wife is, a very loving mother. I get it. But I also understand how boys can manipulate and take advantage of that. You see what I mean? So it's been an uphill journey, but we're on the same page in understanding that, look, I'm not your boyfriend. They're my children as well. I love them. Ultimately, I've always said I just want to have a barbecue with my kids when they're older. I don't drink beers. I call sodas beers. I want them to call, say, Dad, I want you to put some ribs on the grill for me. So this on the grill, what you need me to bring? That's all I want. And if anything that I'm doing now doesn't lead to that barbecue where they can provide the ribs that they want or the beers that they want, then I'm not doing my job.
That's a good perspective. So something that you mentioned, Shannon, you guys talked about kind of your upbringing. One of the pivotal moments for Ebony and I was getting to a place where having to understand how we were raised, right?
Very important.
And so we talk about conflict. We talk about not going to be mad, stuff like that. I was one like when I'm locked in, I'm locked in, right?
Mhm.
So if it's an issue, I'm like, nope, we gonna figure this out now.
Are you the same person?
Right.
And so, so here's the evolution of that though, right? Getting to a place where you stupid. Getting to a place where I had to get comfortable, and I realized why I was like that.
Mm.
You mentioned how I was raised versus how she was raised, right? So in my family, what I grew up seeing was we don't really deal with conflict, right? So if I'm mad at you, I ain't gonna confront you, and I'm not gonna come to you and say, hey, look, you did this, and I feel like that was wrong, this and that. Act like everything's fine, act different, and then start moving different, right? But harbor that resentment. My wife went up, they gonna fuss, cuss, fight. They gonna fuss, look, they gonna fuss, cuss, and fight. But then tomorrow is over. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we be beefing, and I'll be asleep. I promise you, I'll be in bed at night like, all right, one of us leaving tomorrow. Which one of us is getting out of here? This shit's over. I'm literally laying in the bed like, this is about to be over. Which one of us leaving tomorrow? And then I wake up and she's like, hey, what you want for breakfast? I'm like, what you mean? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
And so what I had to realize was like, hold up. And over time, literally, it was crazy. And I can remember the day like it was yesterday. She's standing at the kitchen like washing dishes or something. And I came and I said, babe, I figured something out. I figured it out. I got it. And really, really kind of what I just shared, just really understanding that, I had to look at it from the perspective of, all right, just because we beef, that ain't the end of the world.
Mm.
That ain't the end of the relationship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Realizing who we are to each other allowed me to be like, okay, we're going to go to bed mad sometimes. And for me, it helped me to not be so hell-bent on pressing, right? Because sometimes if she's upset, she needs her space.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also understanding that we've kind of came to a place where it's like, okay, if something is on our heart, we pissed about something, go to sleep. If you wake up tomorrow and it's still on your mind, now let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wake up and it's over, it wasn't that big a deal anyway.
Yeah.
I agree with
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's wisdom.
Yeah, that's kind of how we process that piece. So that was good. So you guys answered my next question. I was going to ask what was one of your biggest challenges y'all talked about, kind of dealing with the parenting as you guys evolve. But and so again, I'm checking y'all out. Look, y'all are kind of like us, enterprising and really kind of go-getters about making it happen. What would you guys say is your biggest strength as a couple?
I would say teamwork. We get at it, together. It's two of us, but it's like it's four of us, because we're just able to just cover so much ground together, just working as a team. So our team format is ridiculous, like how much we get done together. So that's for me.
Yeah, for me, a lot of people don't know I got a strong affection for military. I wanted to be in the military. My father was in Vietnam, but he shut it down like 13. He told me stop talking about it. He's seen a lot of things. He said no son of mine ever be in Vietnam. But I look at her as me and her like a SEALs team. I have a team that like you come in stealth. You got your swim. You come in through the water with your snorkel, your black set on, and you take out 30 people. That's how we are. When we have a goal, when we want to accomplish something, it's done. Once we manifest it, it's done. So I'll have her in the back alley with me before I have a lot of my guys with me, because I know some way or another, she's going to figure it out. It may not be with force and might, but me and her together, it's unstoppable.
That's heavy, bro. That's heavy, man. That's heavy.
Yeah.
Gotta love that.
Yeah.
Gotta love that, man. I love
Yeah.
that. She gonna be forcing Mike. She like to fight.
Yeah, right. I'm ready.
So for our January group, we focused on the topic was defining marriage, right? And so we looked at marriage from a couple different perspectives. We looked at marriage as a business, marriage as a covenant, marriage as a team. And so it was fun. So we kind of did some things. We treated it like a debate. We had each group kind of take a topic, whether they believed it or not, and they had to prove it, right? So it was cool. It was real fun. And so the concept of each of those definitions, so to speak, of marriage is that. So the business is basically, I'm seeing marriage as a business. That's about me. Why are we going to business? To benefit, right? So going into this marriage, how is it going to benefit me?
Right.
So the business is about me, right? The covenant, that's an agreement. That's my declaration to my spouse that I'm here for you. So the covenant is about you,
Right.
right? And so the team is looking at roles and responsibilities and how we set and achieve goals and how we interwork together. The team is about us, right? And so it was a really great conversation. It was a really great session about those three things. And we sent our couples home with a worksheet that basically focused on kind of looking at how they saw themselves in their marriage based on those three concepts, and really, how, whether one partner looked at it from a different way or even operated, as a business, the other partner may operate as a team, and kind of how they can align themselves to kind of make sure that they're on the same page. Just want to kind of get some thoughts from you guys on those concepts and how you kind of see marriage and how it kind of comes across for you guys, from the business standpoint, from the covenant standpoint, and from the team concept. You've been going first, haven't you?
Yeah,
Look, my teammate being a gentleman here.
Exactly.
Is he really
Well,
or he?
I can go. I can flow, but
Go flow.
to me, it's a covenant. And growing up, my father, my mother didn't have great communication, right? So my name is Taylor-Peays with a hyphen. My mother told me the hyphen is because she didn't want her name touching his name. So for me, I always wanted a family. I was 10 years old. I was praying to God for Shannon, somebody look just like Shannon with kids. And I always wanted that love, that Huxtable, like kids going away to college, coming home. I wanted to provide and I would almost say be a servant to my wife. And that may sound weak, but it was more so like I wanted to love someone. I didn't see love between my mother and father. So it's like, man, how did I get here? Because I don't see any connection. But I wanted my kids to see something different. And I wanted to love somebody endlessly. It may sound weird, but I was 10 dreaming of a family, just family. So for me, it's a covenant.
It don't sound weird, because at 10 you recognize what you had in front of you, and you saw what you wanted. You know what I mean? So that's definitely that definitely makes perfect sense, man. That's powerful, actually.
Thank you.
Well, for me, I would say a team for me, because growing up, I was raised around women. I'm the youngest. My mother, my grandmother, as the white mentioned, my father passed away in a car accident when I was 2. So my mother, my grandmother, my older sisters. So by being the youngest, you see a lot. I've seen a lot of messed up relationships. I see my sisters, have kids with guys, but they're doing all the heavy lifting. My older sister, she working 7 days a week, working overtime. My other sister, just being a single mom. And then, getting married, and then she's still doing everything by herself, even though that she's married. So I'm just seeing all of these wrong things. And originally, I didn't even want to get married because I just seen so many messed up situations with my sister. I just thought like all guys were like that until I met Dwight, and I'm like, he's really different, So just having that team, that partner, whereas though if we're going to grind together. If we fall on hard times, we're going to fall on hard times together. There's no separation. Everything is just going to be together, and that's how I look at it, and that's how we flow, and I think that's how we have a lot of success.
Absolutely.
That's powerful.
We'll have arguments sometimes because she's trying to help me, and I'm trying to make things easier for her, and I'm trying to help her, and she's trying to think. I'm like, babe, I got the dishes, and it'll turn into an argument over I'm like, but babe, I'm just trying to kick it so I can watch TV with you.
So dishes. That's one thing you never fuss
The dishes.
the dishes.
The kids,
I want to try that
The kids
argument.
can do the dishes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We fuss about stuff too.
It's not the dishes.
But
It's not the
No, real
I'm
talk.
just
No,
saying, like,
we
we want
probably
to fight over dishes. Want to come and wash dishes
so we fuss probably every day.
Mhm.
At least
all
once.
day.
It's almost kind of like a I don't know what TV show you would kind of liken us to, but it's like, you know, The
The
Simpsons.
Simpsons. She is funny. She is hilarious, actually.
So I gotta be home with her. That's what you saying? Okay. Anyway, when you know, for us, it's almost like kind of like you said, you know, we'll be going back and forth, right? Our personalities, like I said, we talk about communication. When we did a communication assessment with our couples, we did it ourselves. And actually, this assessment I've been doing probably for 10 years with kids and families that I've worked with. And I've been saying to myself, I need to do this with my family. I need to do it. And I've been dragging my feet. We just did it maybe last year, Ebony and I and all the kids. And it was like, it was groundbreaking for us because like one day one of the kids came home and was saying something and Ebony said something back. She was like, oh, you know what? That didn't catch your communication style. I was like, okay, look at my baby. She, you know.
Speaking of language.
Right. And so for us, we realized that we kind of have a similar style of communication, meaning like we both like to kind of get our points across, right? We both like to really kind of, we're strong and opinionated, right? So when we got something that we want to say, we want to get it out, we want to make sure you understand it. And so we butt heads. And a lot of times we saying the exact same thing.
Right.
And we'd be like, yo, we fussing. And they'd be like, hold on, babe, you saying what I'm saying. You know, and so it's like, you know, those things it happens quite often.
Absolutely.
But it's one of those things where sometimes, you know, a couple that may not be grounded, people break up and dig themselves in a hole over an argument.
Then when you look back, it's like, was it worth it?
And that takes us into the next thing, the conflict resolution, because now when we beefing with each other, do we get into a place where we trying to win the argument or are we trying to resolve a situation? You know, and so oftentimes people get into that place. You know, I'm trying to win an argument. So while you're telling me, you know, saying your piece or sharing what your concerns are, I'm not listening because I'm thinking of my next comeback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's necessary too.
See, she like to do that. So
She's spicy.
But I'm gonna tell you, this is my little analogy for this one right here. Right? So we all Baltimore guys. So we understand the geographic kind of the piece of Baltimore. You know, we can be in Woodlawn, and to get to Woodlawn to White Marsh, what you gonna do? You gonna get on 695, and you gonna go ride around the belt.
Absolutely.
And you're there.
Right.
My wife likes to ride through the city. So she want to spice it up and start an argument. But
Actually, sometimes I want to go back to DC and then come on back.
So she likes to
I'ma come
argue.
back.
She wants the smoke. She wants the smoke.
Yeah.
It's the littlest ones, man. Littlest ones.
And so for me, what I gotta do sometimes I, you know, she like it, so I give it to her sometimes.
Right.
But she get upset when I be like, okay, baby, you right. I just, you know, she like that. And then I'm like, yo, we did all that to get, and this is where we was gonna end up at anyway.
Somebody recently told us that you could either be happy or you could be
Right and happy.
you can't have both.
Do you want to be right?
Or do you want to be happy? And then they broke it down in a sense of like how you said we've been like that where I'm looking to win the argument. Like I know I'm right. So like I gotta get her to see that I'm right. So I'm going and then she's coming back. And then I'm going and she's coming back. But then they said, you know, the communication is like you want to say, okay, well, let me make sure I understand what you're saying, Shannon.
Yeah, that's it.
Let me paraphrase what she's saying. And what it does is slows it down. So me, I'm a basketball head. You know, we play football, but I'm a basketball junkie. So for me, it's like, all right, when the game is kind of get crazy in basketball, you got a true point guard, he's going to slow the game down, right? he gonna start calling the X's and O's. We're gonna call it pick and roll. We're gonna call it screen. We're gonna call it a down screen. And it made sense to me because a lot of times I'm passionate, me being an athlete, I want to get my point across. But it's not always the right time, it's not always the right way. And that it meant a lot to me to say, like, man, sometimes you gotta just slow the pace down because you're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
It's funny you mentioned that slow the pace down. So in dealing with folks with like anger management and things like that, I'm sure y'all heard it with like kids. They'll say count to 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
That count to 10 is really for a kid doesn't know to slow down. So what I tell adults is don't ever say the first thing that comes to your mind. Take a moment.
Absolutely right.
So take a moment and evaluate that thing. See, she gonna say, and again, knowing my wife, right? I had to learn that when she's triggered and she's in a place, she gotta say it. She just gotta say it. She gonna say what she gonna say, and I gotta absorb that thing. I gotta take it, and then later she may come back and be like, you know what, this is what I meant, or I felt like this, or I had to say it. But I know her, so I can take all that. She'll like literally, we'll be dealing with a serious conversation, and she'll take a shot. Like, oh, was that even necessary? You know, like I'm like, yo, it's like it's an adrenaline rush for her, right? Like
she can't control it.
But one thing that I think is powerful, and you mentioned kind of with your boys, how you wanted to see them when they grow, right? Mm-hmm. One of the most powerful moments I think in our relationship, and this was probably not too long ago. I'm riding up the road, coming home, we on the phone. I don't know what we're talking about. But it gets into an argument. We fussing. The kids probably just walked in the door from school. Right. She hung up on me. Guess what I did when I walked in the door? Smacked down my butt. What's up, bro? The kids looking around like, it's over. I don't care. Mm-hmm. And I realized, like, I don't take myself too seriously. Life is short, and it's what we were dealing with on that ride, that big a deal.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when I walk in this door, platinum cakes and what's up?
Yep. Life is good. You got your queen there, your kids there, you come to a house with heat.
And we're gonna keep it moving.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I think a lot of folks struggle with in relationship. And that actually takes me to my next topic. So one of the big things that we dealt with our couples is, when you decide to be with somebody, right? In many cases, you guys have been together for a long time. In many cases, each partner has to a degree, and even for you guys, y'all were younger, but have established some routines and some processes and some things in your life individually, right? Mm-hmm. And then when you get with somebody, you got to now figure out, okay, this is who I am. And now I'm with this person. They're their person. How do we now make this thing work? So one of our sessions, we dealt with individuality, right? Our individual or individual identities, right? And so the struggle of now knowing who I was as a single person,
right?
Now having to immerse my life into somebody else's life, and how do we now take our individual selves and morph that into one?
I'm gonna jump in here. Oh, were you finished?
No, no, I'm gonna let you have that. Go ahead.
Okay, so I would say for me, it was a little challenging for me in the beginning because Dwight he's a man's man. He wants to handle everything. And so as I stated, I didn't grow up in a house with a dad. So I took out the trash. I cut the grass. I started the grill. So all of those things that a man, a role of a man is supposed to do.
I do start the grill. I don't cook on the grill, but I start the grill.
Did you have to say that? Did you have to say that?
I don't
spicy boy.
I start the grill.
I believe, man. I believe.
So doing all of those things, it was kind of like kind of weird in the beginning. I'm not going to say difficult, but it was just not my norm. So like he said, we'll have like little beefs about that, whereas though he's like, I need to do this. And I'm like, well, if you're not around, what's wrong with me just doing it? I'm, helping you out is one less thing you have to do. And he's like, well, no, that's my responsibility. So it's just navigating and me learning that, hey, this makes my husband happy. Just leave the trash in there. Because this makes him happy. This gives him joy. This fulfills him taking it out. Or, he doesn't want me cutting the grass, or he doesn't want me doing this. So just me learning to fall back and, have my husband have those moments that he likes to do as a man. So, that's something that I had to just learn, because I didn't have that growing up.
I agree with everything she said, but not but. However, that's things that you take pride in when you love somebody. I want to make her load as easy as possible. So for me, one thing about Shannon is she's very gracious, and like 20 years in, she's still saying thank you for this. Thank you, babe. I appreciate you sending me a text. I love you so much with a heart. Like, that's the battery on my back. So I don't want her to do anything if I can control it. However, I do love that she's
Stop, Ebony.
right. It's like, can I get a break? I do love that she's in the trenches with me. But something I can say is that I try to always, and I don't know where I try to always put myself in somebody else's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So I've watched my wife get her degree while our kids were young. We were living in Pennsylvania, driving an hour and a half to Verizon and back, studying at night, spending time with our kids, going to football practice, going to basketball practice. And then as she evolved and started certifying herself in the IT world, I seen the microaggressions of her in corporate America of being in a man's, in a more of a man, a field that's dominated by men.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing what she had to deal with, being just as qualified as the men, but being paid less. Seeing people that are less melanated than her being paid more without her qualifications. So you see somebody that's always fighting, like they're fighting for like they're just due. So then when you come home, it's like, look, I'm on your team, but I understand she's 9 to 5 most of her days at her job. When she was working, she's in fight mode. She's in, fighting to show that like I should be here. So it's not easy, but most of the time I try to put myself in the other person's shoes to see what angle they're coming from.
Yeah.
And I know for me, I'm very intense. I'm very intense, and I am a what would you say?
Intense.
I'm intense, and she has adjusted to that. But at the same time, I try to understand, like, when I'm being intense about something, it's not that I'm going against her. It's not that I'm trying to say that you are less qualified, but I want to make her load easy as much as I can. And I think we all do that as men. I think all of us is like, we want our spouse to be as comfortable as they can possibly be. And when they show gratitude, it's like it recharges our battery.
Cool. So I want to we didn't do this in our first couple of sessions, but I want to give you guys an opportunity we're gonna put us on the spot right quick. Anything you want to ask us, man, just throw it out there too. Any questions you might have, kind of about what we do, about who we are, about anything. No limits, man. Just anything you want to ask us.
Can I start?
Go ahead.
All right. So something that stood out was you said when you went away home, y'all talking on the phone. Seemed like y'all are best friends. We do that a lot. Would you say that she is your best friend?
Man, listen. So yeah, she is. She definitely my best friend, man. We get on each other's nerves, and we have been there for each other when we had nobody else, either one of us. So outside of being my wife, outside of being the person who holds the house down and keep everything together, keep me straight even when I don't want to be kept straight. Yeah, that's my dog.
That's what's up.
Okay. So how did y'all two meet?
That's funny. You want to say it?
His sister
I'm on here with you guys.
was my coworker. She invited me to her granddaughter's party. First of all, he ain't talked to me at the party, but he slid in my DM.
Still Big Wayne, right?
I seen your
It's like, why you ain't say nothing at the party?
We did talk.
Why you had to wait? Oh, I'm sorry, because your girlfriend was there.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay, this
Did,
story
did she have to say that?
I think we had a little clip.
That was my
Spicy,
mom.
boy.
That
She
was,
is.
so listen, you know, she said it the way she said it for a reason. She was trying to do that. So she
You was in a little situation.
Right.
shit. So real talk. So basically what happened was she was at the party, my niece's party. I came to the party late because my son was playing football. I was coaching my son. And when we walked in, they were sitting in the room, right? I actually thought she was there with my little cousin. And so I was like, okay, you got a nice little thing over there, okay. You know, so we get to talking, and my other cousin, the one who I thought she was with, his brother, I was like, you know, why your son not playing ball? He was playing with us or whatever. And they got to talking, and he was like, well, you know, my baby mother, she making me do everything, this and that. And she jumped in, she's like, well, as a parent, you know, you got to kind of do, I was like, okay, that's she talking my language. You know, because again, I grind. You know, I run my kids, you know, and I'm really about, you know, making sure they got what they need to kind of develop and grow. And I hear that, I was like, hold up. She talking my language, you know, so we kind of, it was a dialogue going on in there and everything. And it's funny because Naya, our 18-year-old, she just turned 18 the other day, in her party. So Dwayne, my son, and her daughter Naya, at that party, it was a dance contest. And them two were dancing at the end of the party, and they kind of tied, I guess. Right? And so they were dancing at the party. And then at Naya's party Saturday, they dancing, and I'm like, yo, this is how it all started right here, right?
Wow.
And again, you know, we talked. And so when we left the party, it was funny because, you know, me, my brother, and my cousin, like, Shorty was all right, who was that, whatever. And, you know, I hit her, you know, friend requested her and everything. And, but what really happened was, I'm coaching. One day she posted something like, I want to be a football mom. I was like, she know I ain't coaching football. I said, hold up. I said, oh, football mom, huh?
She crafty, boy. You got one in your hands, man.
I said, oh, football mom, huh? You know, I said, you need to come on to one of my games, you know, so we got to talk like, you know, we can. And so then we kind
I
of.
just wanted to be a football mom because I had two girls.
I just wanted a son.
Right.
That's what the football mom was.
That's
I
what they
wanted
say,
a
right?
son.
I get it.
Sound good, babe. Sound good. But you know, and I mean, it was you know, but honestly, yeah, I was in a situationship, and it was, you know, I
see the twinkle in her eye.
I was checked.
She looking at you.
I was checked out. You know, it was one of those types of things. But like, I was in a place where I had, what, a year before, I was just officially divorced. You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, I'm not doing this again. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was like, damn, she worked with my sister. I'm not calling her because I'm gonna ruin her life. Because when my head is right now, I ain't dead. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when we did actually kind of connect and we kind of hung out, you know, I'd be riding home, you know, you dating and stuff. You're like, all right, let me see. I'm calling her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, who? I'm gonna call her.
Right.
And it was just like, you know, I just enjoyed her company. We enjoyed spending time together, and she just decided that I was her guy, and she used it.
It's amazing.
You know.
That's amazing.
So yeah, and it was history. But we kind of dated. We kind of dated under the radar for a while. Bust out to the world when people lost their minds. But that's what it was.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
How long under the radar?
A few months. Like
months.
it was. You know, we met in like August,
Okay.
and nobody really knew he was kicking it.
Not even your sister?
No, she didn't know.
Wow.
I was so nervous.
Wow.
Okay.
No.
She was mad.
I was just like, wait a minute.
And you know, it was literally New Year's Eve where we introduced our kids. We met up with the kids, and then they came to the house and we hung out. You know, then like a couple days later, they came back the weekend and they never go back home. And then
Wow.
yeah.
Like, we had a cat home. The cat was literally, had the whole house to himself. Never
You
went
said
back
a
to
cat
the cat.
home?
Yeah, went home fed him.
We had a cat home, never went back home to the cat.
Wow.
Cat just lonely. Never went back
Went
home
home
to
to
the
feed
cat.
him. Yeah.
Definitely went home to feed him.
But yeah, so
That's
yeah, so you know, it was it was an interesting kind of process how
Yeah,
we
that
got together.
connection is powerful. Like when you just have a connection with someone and it's just easy.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it's about. And it's just like not difficult to have conversations. It's not difficult being around each other. It's just easy. And like even when, you know, like you guys said, you know, y'all may have arguments and things like that. Like we do too. But at the end of the day, it's just still easy. It's
Yeah.
still easy. Yeah.
Because nothing we deal with is bigger than who we are to each other.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, that's kind of the you know, my big thing.
Except for when we talk about that red and budget, then it's like, oh, okay, that ain't good. I don't talk about that.
You don't want to buy shit
I
on
don't
top
want
of
to
that.
She don't like, as you see, she don't like guidelines.
I don't want to talk about
She
that.
don't like, you know, anything that
That's probably the only conversation that
Right.
gets a
feel
little
like a rule,
uneasy.
a restriction or guideline. She don't like none of that. She just want to kind of breathe.
I think that has something to do with their height. I think that's a 5'5" and under thing.
5'5". I do. What?
What's your height?
I'm claiming 5'2".
Me too.
Honesty.
Minus how many inches?
It's what the hills
I
are.
think I gained a few.
Okay.
Because I sit up straight.
Oh, you
now.
still growing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm tripping. Okay.
But yeah, really, one. I guess one last question I want to ask you guys. You know, and again, it's you know, any details, no understanding, but just like, you know, with the time that you guys have been, with the things that you've kind of been through, accomplished, and everything, what advice would you give to, you know, a couple or a person, any that's looking to kind of get into a relationship, looking to get married, looking to kind of grow with somebody? What advice would you give? And I'm gonna say to a new couple.
I would say this. When you get in a relationship, the qualities and characteristics that person has, be willing to still be able to deal with those qualities and personalities. I feel like a lot of times people do get in relationships, they try to change people, or they're upset because how a person character is. So I did mention earlier to you guys that Dwight is irky. I did say that he's very confident. So, you know, sometimes I do get mad and say, you know, you're arrogant, but that's some of the things that drew me to him. You know what I'm saying? So I can't try
Things
to,
you love, but the things you
yeah.
hate.
So I can't try to, you know, change him now. We already in, you know, 2 kids in. I can't hate his confidence now. So, you know, just some of the things that drew you to a person, you know, still cherish that and don't, you know, go into a relationship thinking that, hey, I can change this. Or when you're in a relationship, you know, you're saying, I don't like that. You know, just think about what drew you to that person. And
Your
always, yeah, like you said, you know, what are your points and why. And you know, and always try to you know, keep that friendship, because you are going to have times when you don't like each other. You know, so if you have that friendship, you know, that friendship is going to carry you through those difficult times within your marriage, because you have that friendship. Because if you have that friendship, if something bad is going on in your life, you know, you want to call that person, you want to call your spouse because he's your friend. If you have something good going, that's the first person you want to call as well. So just make sure that friendship is intact. You got to have friendship is the foundation for marriage.
I like that.
I mean, she said it all. That's just it. Friendship, you know, energy. I felt like at one point I'm 43, and I feel like when we were like in our 30s, like marriage was like a fad for our generation. It was like, I gotta get married. You know, this person, you know. But Shannon said it best: when you're friends, and we have our moments where we clash. We have those, but it's like a few hours go by, and I'm like, man, you know, I done watch Country Wayne. I done watched our dates on the Lakers. And I'm like, it's about that time I talk to Shannon. You know what I mean? It's like I'm itching, but I'm trying to hold out. And then it's just like, you know, it's like that friendship. So I feel like if we didn't have the friend, because we talk about, like, we're so transparent. But I feel like if we didn't have the friendship that we had, I think we would have been probably divorced a long time ago. But we're friends before we're husband and wife. We're friends before we're lovers, you know. And the husband and wife is great. It's good. Love is great. It's good. But we have our issues. But because we are friends, it keeps bringing us back to each other.
Yeah.
So it's like, she'll sit and watch basketball with me till 1 a.m. At the same time, I'll sit and watch Housewives of whatever, Housewives of Guantanamo Bay. You know what I mean? Because it's just I want to be around her. I want to be with her. So if that's gonna make her smile, that's gonna make her happy, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
So I would just say, do it for the right reason. I think I had a buddy who was saying, "Man, I want to be like you." I said, "Nah, you want to be like me." Like marriage don't mean that you've accomplished it. So like marriage you have to be for marriage.
Work, bro.
You have to want marriage. You have to want to have it. And because I'm married and you're single, it doesn't make me better than you. It's just I'm at a place where this is what works for me. So I just think it shouldn't be a fad. It shouldn't be my family believes. It should be something that is organic to who you are.
Awesome, man. Look, man, I appreciate y'all. Like,
Appreciate y'all,
for
man.
coming through and really sharing, this wisdom that you guys have, your experiences, and your, sharing your life with us, man. So, this ain't the last time y'all will hear from us.
Cool, we love it.
We
love it.
We're gonna have more going on with date night, but also just kind of, Dwayne and Ebony, Shannon and Dwight.
Absolutely.
We gotta definitely stay connected.
Yes, sir.
Y'all business folks, we business folks, and we're just great people. So I appreciate y'all coming through.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you, Queen. Appreciate it. What happens?